All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to it. It's a brand new journey for the Ojo. This is the Ojo Culture District. This is where Ojo takes a deep dive into a lot of our creative spaces in and around Port of Spain. In fact, in and around Trinidad and Tobago. So you never know, we might be coming to you. It is a wonderful time to start it because it is Emancipation season. So we are at the Oblique Imperative. It's a beautiful little gem located at the corner of Maraval and Tragrid Road. Maybe you've passed by and you haven't necessarily taken notice. This beautiful space lives right here in the heart of Port of Spain. They specialize in signature pieces, jewelry, and fashion from around the world. Signature, one-of-a-kind pieces. I'm actually wearing some of their pieces right about now from around the world, some of their jewelry. Oblique Imperative. They have gorgeous stuff and you definitely want to check it out. And they are also a bit of a communal and performance space. Small, intimate, especially if you're an artist with a particular kind of sensibility, if you know what I mean. So this morning, we have the pleasure of chatting with a young man, a young king. I have to call him a young king. He gives young king energy. He goes by the name Shoga, and I want you all to remember that name. Remember it, because a few months from now, a couple of years from now, I want you to remember this moment when we introduced you to him. I'm going to let him fully introduce himself. I have a little bit of insight, but I don't want to color your opinion too much just yet. So Shoga, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself to the Ojo world.
Okay, so good morning again, everyone. My name is Odunmbaku Adesoga Somorin. That's my full name, but you call me Shoga from my middle name, Adesoga. That's the nickname that my mom always used to call me when I was young. I was born in Nigeria and I came to Trinidad from a young age, and I've been living here for the past few years, but I go back and forth. I travel back and forth.
Back and forth.
Yes.
So Shoga, this is actually not the first time that Trinidad and Tobago technically has been introduced to you. A few months ago, there was a video that went viral.
Yes.
All I remember the video of the young man who experienced being turned down a marriage proposal at a club. Remember that video? Well, if the face looks a little familiar, tell us exactly why. Yes, tell us exactly why your face might look familiar from that video.
Yes, that was a social experiment I did with Angel. And that was, the purpose of the experiment itself was to hold a mirror to society to show everyone how they react to situations and how wrong we could be and how much people assume on situations all the time.
All the time.
That was the point of the entire experiment itself.
So you have been dabbling in the arts and performance for a really long time. Tell us about that journey and tell us about being in Trinidad and Tobago and being of Nigerian heritage, and how those two things now play into your creative journey.
So the arts came from back home in Nigeria, first of all, where I would definitely, sing a lot, chant a lot, because of from a traditional home, there are lots of chants that pass daily, every single time. There's always a chant, a song that somebody will be singing. We have something we call Oro Festival back home, where it happens that kind of cross-dressing, and the ladies have been making the men make the ladies, and they sing songs back and forth at each other. So that was definitely the arts-based form for me. Then coming to Trinidad now, and now being introduced to guile performances, stick fights, plays with EIN2, who actually refined my English, I can say that word.
Wow.
All of that was actually now what played into me being in the arts, where she now asked me to be a part of the Cambule riots film, the reenactment. I did some parallel plays with El Parandero and his wife.
Wow.
And that was just me performing. And then in school, as well, secondary school drama fest, doing all those things, we introduced to different stages, from Naparima Bowl to Napa to Sapa to even my home stage I use that which is the Bishop and Trinity Auditorium. Just being on those different stages, that's why I always knew I like stage performances. I like performance, but with a purpose, sharing something which is me, my culture. And now I just decided to just share my truth and melodies.
Right. So you're a Trinity boy.
Yes.
Trinity
definitely.
East.
Trinity College East.
Trinity College East. So you've been, you experienced all of your secondary school life in Trinidad.
In Trinidad, yes.
In Trinidad in Trinity.
Yes.
So tell us, in terms of, you said growing up in a traditional home, what exactly does that mean for you?
Growing up in a traditional home means a home where what we practice and our way of life is very cultural. And we call it Ifa tradition. And it's simply a way of life where you live with oneness in everything in the world. And you, of course, you acknowledge you created all forms and fashion. And I have friends who are from all different walks of life, from all different religions, and we get along very well. I respect them, and I'm actually ready to learn about all these different cultures. I can't wait to travel to India and meet different gurus. I can't wait to go to the Middle East and meet different imams, talk to them in Vatican City. These are things I have planned in my journey that I definitely want to get involved with and just spread that love through.
And for those of us who are not necessarily very familiar, especially it being Emancipation, I think it's beautiful that we are talking to Shoga in the lead up to Emancipation, because when we hear Ifa, it might ring a bell, but for those of us who live specifically and are grounded and rooted in the Trinbagonian context is what we would know as Orisha, and how it fits into the Trinbagonian landscape and the removing of stigma and the removing of stereotype. These are wonderful conversations to have, especially in the lead up to Emancipation. Now, I happen to know that young Shoga, he is prolific in many ways, and one of the ways in which he is quite prolific is in being a young Babalabu. What exactly does that mean?
The word Babalabu itself, which my mother's been trying to deconstruct, because
Right.
Baba means father.
Gotcha.
And a Babalabu is someone, the holder of a receptacle of knowledge. That's what it means. And a Babalabu is just a male holder of that receptacle of knowledge.
Right.
So Ifa in itself, against what different misconceptions might be, this is what it is. It's simply a body of knowledge that tells us about everything and anything that exists in the world. Predates time, predates existence, tells us about every single thing. From why ants are so small but have that much amount of strength, to why lilies float on water. Different things that people will now wonder that science is now discovering have been in ancient knowledge and ancient culture. And when I meet anyone who also is from an ancient culture and tradition, there's never any argument. It's always like, oh, this too, oh yeah, this, that, because it's the knowledge in the world is one. What makes a difference is a language barrier. And once you can break that language barrier, you realize that the world is one place.
That we all say the same thing in different ways.
Correct.
Beautiful. So speaking of languages, how many languages do you speak?
I want to say 3, and that is English, Yoruba, my mother tongue. And if I'm foreign in a Spanish country, I can't converse. I don't get lost.
Right. Good. So Shoga, tell us a little bit about how you came to be in this space. I mean, apart from the fact that your parents dragged you here.
Yeah.
Yes. But tell us a little bit about your family's journey and how you all came to be in this space.
Well, it's a long story, definitely, but it was like something that was ordained and it was meant to happen, if I can use that word, because my mother wanted to do her master's in cultural studies.
Hi! Gotta shout out the Cultural Studies Department up at UA.
Definitely.
Yeah. Hi, Dr. Burke. Yes, continue.
I remember that name.
You remember Dr. Burke? That's
Definitely.
my advisor, yes.
So while she was doing that, I know she wanted to delve into Trinidad as a melting pot of different cultures. On the other hand, as we explained before, like my father, he's a Babalabu spiritualist. You are someone who flew from London and her friend from Trinidad who came to see him in Nigeria. And while coming there now, they were so, the problems got resolved. They felt so at peace that they said, you know what, Baba, I think so many people can benefit from this knowledge and this information. So, you know what, I'll fly you to London and come and just, have a couple of friends that would love to get your assistance. And his friend was like, well, if you fly him to London, just one more ticket, come to Trinidad. And I was like, okay, cool. And same time, told my mother about it. She said, well, I was looking at Trinidad to do cultural studies.
Right.
Well, let's all go to Trinidad. And that's how my mom, my sister, and I became to Trinidad all together.
Wow.
Definitely. And my sister's my stylist, so she puts everything together.
Your sister is giving. Your sister understands the assignments. Because, yes. Is this a local piece? Are you wearing a local designer here?
This is this piece, I don't know where she sourced this one from, but most of the things she has for me, she designs for herself. That's Evolve. And she actually has a collection coming out very soon. But it's African, Afrocentric attire, but she's trying to delve into how to mesh the European attire. So like bomber jackets, shirts, bucket hats, but they are made with this type of fabric that is definitely African.
So it's like urban Afro-futuristic type way.
Definitely.
Like it a lot.
Definitely.
So your family came to TNT. Of course, you would have assimilated into the school system, etc., etc. But in terms of that ordained energy, you said that has led the family to Trinidad and Tobago. What has that journey been like since you've been here? I mean, I know the impact your father has had on my life, right. But just in terms of interacting with Trinidad and Tobago in that capacity, particularly with regards to the spiritual element and how Trinidad receives that.
It's been like a roller coaster because you see different highs, different lows in it. Firstly, for me, when it comes to even communicating with people, at first when I was in school and I'll be talking like this and I'll be reading from books and saying the children were playing and the entire class is laughing. Because it's not the children were playing, it's the children were playing.
Right.
But after a while, I learned to switch between the two accents and different things like that. And now going into the part of the spiritual assistance, it's been definitely life-changing. To see the impact that you can have on someone's life and they are truly grateful. Yeah. It never gets old. Because it never ever gets old. And personally, that was one of the reasons of getting into music, because I want to share that joy with more people.
Right.
And definitely, I know a lot of people have things they go through silently that they don't talk about, they don't want to share, but they're looking for, how can I solve this? How can I make this feel better? And sometimes, telling someone that, people go through this is not always the best way to heal it. Because yes, people do go through this, and I pat myself on the back for that. So situations will happen, I'll be like, you know what, I'm alive, I'm good, let's move on with life. I definitely just want to help people find that peace within themselves more and resonate more with spirituality, because spirituality is about you and everything. Whereas the other aspect of things is about putting an institution or something else between you and the creator, and between you and energy. So,
see why I love him. See why. It's beautiful. And in terms of that whole aspect of traditional African spirituality, I'm really wanting to move away from the term religion and whatnot, and the role that it would have played in our emancipation journey. Emancipation is upon us. We are one of the only spaces in the diaspora that actually commemorates emancipation as a public holiday and whatnot. What has it been like coming into a space, like a post-colonial space on this side of the world? And what does emancipation mean to you? Or what has it come to mean to you being in this space?
I love that you mentioned that, because when I was younger, I actually had a bone to pick with it, being that why is it around this time people just wear like African clothes? Why is it around this time people just wear Afrocentric culture? People think like it's emancipation. I must now put on clothes and feel proud of my heritage. Because I'll put on clothes and around emancipation time people come, hey, where you get this? I want to get one for emancipation. So I'm like, no, this is why I wear daily. Like this is me all the time. And even like going to the gas station, somebody saying, hey, so you're African? I'm like, yeah, you too. And they'd be like, nah, it's not Africa, I'm from Trinidad. I was like, yeah, but we are both African. And I started to hear the narrative of where even people from the continent tell people who are not from the continent that you're not from Africa, and that is completely wrong.
Wow.
Because everything, when I came here, I see people who look like people who are back home. And back home, they are Chinese people as well, they are albinos as well. It's really, everyone looks alike, everyone is like, I can use the word, everyone is like family. So that definitely coming now though, emancipation, I enjoy it. I enjoy the party, the fanfare, the excitement it brings. I enjoy and appreciate seeing that, okay, this is a day where people remember at least that this happened and I'm from here, and I appreciate that aspect of things. But would now definitely love to see the growth and development of that. And that can only happen through what the creatives, the artists, the stylists, the people who make road signs, people on the radio, people like what you're doing. Definitely, this is what is going to now raise that awareness continuously. I remember when it felt the first time I heard Afrobeat song in a party, my porch raised. I was like, this music reach here. And now it's like the craziest thing. Everybody is emo and shy, like I really like it. So I love the fact that people are embracing it more, but the work is not done. It's now beginning to make people more fully hug and embrace the culture.
Embrace the culture. Lovely. So you are now making the step into music,
Yes.
and very much into what would be now considered pop culture. Afrobeats is all the rage. We all love Burna Boy, Thames. We know all of the artists that are on the billboard right about now. Burna just shut things down in Barbados. He's on a world tour, etc. So you are making the entrance, and we have our own soca artists here in Trinidad who have kind of begun to dabble in the Afrobeats, right? So you are a youngster of Nigerian heritage, Yoruba being your fluent mother tongue, etc., making the transition now, entering the frame, throwing your hat in the ring in Afrobeats. Tell me about that journey. Why? What kind of music can we expect from you? And of course, we want a sample.
Okay. Definitely when it comes to the music, it's because of me saying, okay, cool, how can I reach the bigger audience to what I want to share? At first, when it started off, I was like, okay, cool, I want to start doing YouTube videos. And I was just me sharing YouTube. I found a platform. It was too long of videos and not enough assimilation time for anyone. But I realized music gets to us in a special type of way. And you can add so much things that makes it more entertaining. The chord progression, the music. I said, okay, cool, let me do that. And just inspiration, especially from Fela. I remember since I was young, when I jump into the car, my father is playing Fela music all the time, every single time. From songs that people who are very much on the element.
What's no enemy and all them things. Come on,
the saxophone, the blues. So I remember playing for one of my friends, and he was like, "Oh, you're so old." I was like, "It's not old; it's just music."
Disrespectful. Fela is one of the biggest influences in Burna Boy's career. Fela having been one of his mentors.
Yes.
His uncle being a part of Fela's team.
Yes,
Come on,
manage Fela.
Do your research.
Yes. Fela music. So that music is a big impact on me. Now, where Trinidad, I love so much, comes in as well, is that coming here, I got exposed to so many different sounds as well that would fuse well with the Afro beats. And that's why Burna Boy was saying he's making Afro beats, making Afro fusion based on what his life journey took him to fuse it with.
Right.
And my life journey took me to the point where I can fuse it with things like Latin music, can fuse it with things like EDM, can fuse it with things like adding pan into Afro beats. And all these are things that I want to do. Even adding chutney, making a chutney Afro beat as an Indian song, something's coming as well. Even the popular dancehall music, the reggae, there are ways that we can bring up those drums more and let people just feel the energy. Definitely.
Okay, all right. So you have something new coming.
Mm-hmm.
You have something new coming that most likely will be premiered first on the Hot Ojo. Yes. Tell us about that. I know you filmed the video for it. I saw some images of it where you were able to share energy with people like Ian N2, Royal Gibbons, and various other elders in the mix. So tell us about that journey, what the song is about, and then we want a sample.
Okay, so that record actually came from me deciding, all right, I've planned everything. What do I release first? Because I was working on a record called West African. That was just telling about me being from the West African part of Nigeria and then being also the West and the African mix. But we, while just in conversation with the team, we said that shouldn't be the first one because we're answering a question that wasn't asked yet. So we said, okay, cool, then let's work on developing this question first and who are you before saying who you are. So I was thinking, I was just home and I got a beat from the producer, shout out to Zaya Records and O'Shea. And he sent me this beat and I was like, this beat is nice. Before the beats we played before, they would sound Afro, but they're not really giving me the drums that I want. So he sent it to me and I was just vibing to it. And I said, you know what? A record called Vibrate was the child of that. And Vibrate is about just trusting your vibes, where people say, no, my vibes will take you, or my vibes will take you, and things like that. Religion will call it spirit, science will call it energy, but it's called vibes in the streets, and you trust your vibes wherever you go. So that's what Vibrate is about. And you sent me filmed the video for yesterday, so that's coming out very soon. Look forward to that.
All right. So give me something to vibrate to.
To vibrate, it starts. When I say to dance, you go dance the bedu. When I say to dance, you go dance the bedu. When I say to dance, you go dance the bedu. Do. They make back up. How about you? You there, you to the back, to the front, to the side. Everybody Off your feet. That dance, energy, vibes. Lift your feet in the air. Feel the vibration. Feel the energy.
Beautiful. So I want you to say something to the people who might be meeting you for the first time in Yoruba, and then of course translate it into English for us.
Okay, definitely. Orúkọ mi ni Adesoga, ẹ ti mọ̀ ẹ́ tẹ́lẹ̀. Nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ sọ ni pé mo fẹ́ ṣe eré, mo fẹ́ fún yín ní nǹkan tó máa jẹ́ kẹ́ ní adùn nínú ọkàn àti láti kọ́ yín ní nǹkan ọgbọ́n máa dẹ̀ ṣe dáadáa. Jẹ́ kí àwọn Olódùmarè àwọn aláṣẹ kọjá kí n ṣe. Translated, that means that my name is Adesoga. You know that already. My purpose is to educate, to entertain, and to motivate through music, spirituality, and fitness. And I want to give you music that will make you dance and make your feet move, but also make your brain think.
Ladies and gents, Ojo Fam, this is the second edition of the Ojo Culture District, the OCD. Be on the lookout for it. Again, we want to say thank you so much to the folks at the Oblique Imperative, a beautiful space at the corner of Maraval Road and Tragrid Road. Thank you so much to the creative director, Rohan D'Souza. This has been his baby for the last 10 years. And he also works alongside some wonderful people who made us feel very at home this morning. Cassidy Mohammed, as well as Gregory Thom. Thank you so much.
She gave me this tea, and this tea tastes amazing. Tea,
yes.
Body healthy.
Keep the body healthy, keep you looking beautiful, and keep you wearing pieces that I am very, very convinced just have some very, very good energy attached to it, especially from the fact that it comes from spaces from around the world, indigenous spaces from around the world. So if you're looking for jewelry, ethnic jewelry that has a lot of resonance, has a lot of meaning, and of course is absolutely beautiful, this is the space that you want to check out. Shoga, it has been a pleasure chatting with you, young king, young warrior. It's so beautiful to see our young Black kings out here doing wonderful things. And I'm so glad that we could make this connection, you being from the continent and being in this space now and trying to leave a mark and make those creative connections and cultural connections. I think it's really important.
Thank you. Pleasure is mine. Thank you so very much for having me, and can't wait for the future. Let's see what the future holds. Thank you. I appreciate it always.
Vibrate. Hey.